The other day we saw Inside. Connor, what's the plot of Inside?
Willem Dafoe stars as an art thief slash artist who gets locked in a house and can't get free as the heat slowly goes up and he has to get creative to survive. So Aiden, what did you think of Inside?
Inside is too long. It feels like a short movie, or like it should be a short movie, because there's 30 minutes of material here stretched out for a very long time. Right. I'm all for the art house shit. I'm all for movies where Willem Dafoe goes crazy. This is a little much for me. He really isn't given anyone to work off of. He's alone. You know, there's sometimes some interesting stuff going on. Him making his own art inside the art mansion gallery place. Kinda interesting. And then there's a lot of scenes of him licking the inside of the refrigerator, or drinking piss, or sitting on the couch, or, you know, he's stuck there. I think it kind of just drags on and there's not really anything going on. You just go through this same 5-minute loop again of him needing to figure out how to get water or food. And yeah, he needs someone to play off of or something, or I don't know. I don't generally like to say that things are just outright boring, but it definitely gets boring at times, and I wish it was a lot more interesting than it was. Yeah, ultimately, that's kind of my takeaway. This could have been a really neat, 20-minute short, and it just never ends. It's over 2 hours, which is frankly absurd. Yeah, I don't know. I occasionally liked it, and a lot of the times I just wanted it to be over with. Connor, what'd you think of Inside?
Yeah, to echo your sentiment, it really should have been a short movie, a short film. It's an interesting concept, and it's not a bad concept either. It's just not a concept that should go for over 90 minutes, especially, but definitely not over 90, but it's almost overindulgent in a concept that could lend for a very interesting short. It's very well shot, yeah. It's well thought out, it's just very long, and I don't think there's enough material here for how long it ended up lasting. I could see somebody like Wong Kar-wai or Bong Joon-ho or Robert Eggers or someone like that doing this film as a half-hour short that they pack on a Blu-ray with something, and it being kind of interesting. Personally, I don't see the appeal that much. It just feels like, let's make an art house A24 movie. This isn't by A24, by the way, but it feels like they're let's make an art house A24 movie, down to the fact that we're gonna hire Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
And I mean, you look at something like The Lighthouse, which would work as a short as well, but also works as a feature. But there's more stuff to it. Willem is bouncing off Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
And he's doing weird shit, and they're doing weird shit. I think that movie might be a little too long for its own good, personally, as well. But it works as a feature.
You need someone else to be played off of here. This If it's gonna be this long, there has to be someone else to play off of.
But if it was Willem playing off someone else, then it's like, it's just a flatter, less creative lighthouse at that point.
Yeah.
So you kind of have a double-edged sword.
But if you don't have someone
Crazy
for him to
Willem.
play off, it's a movie where Willem Dafoe wanders around a house drinking pee-pee water for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
110 minutes or whatever the fuck.
110. Yeah, it's almost 2 hours.
It genuinely, there's a lot of times where it feels like nothing happens. I kind of kept waiting for something to happen. I was like, surely something will happen. But no, it just kind of...
Yeah, there's no escalation to the plot. The acts kind of merge together. Because at one point, Willem just kind of goes crazy. And then he's just crazy for the rest of the film. There's no like separation, like it isn't a 3-act structure where at first he's trying to logically break out, because he tries to logically break out for like 10 minutes and then he just accepts his fate, basically. And then so there wasn't like if you cut it into 90 minutes, it would be an easy 3-act structure. 30 minutes, he gets locked in, he tries to logically escape. Act 2, he tries to figure out how to survive. In Act 3, he tries a crazy convoluted escape method and succeeds or fails on those merits. Which is kind of the structure, except it's more like he tries to escape logically for 10 minutes. And then he dicks around drinking piss for an hour, and then at the end he tries a convoluted way to escape. So it's a really shaky 3 acts, if you could even call it that. So yeah, I don't think it's terrible. I just think it's highly flawed in its execution. And I think that's in big part because this seems like a grant film, because it's like the Greek government sponsored it and all sorts of like other random art house things. So my guess is somebody got a bunch of grants to make an A24 movie, because the guy who's directed this has directed one other short. And I feel like they probably specified that it has to be a feature for him to get the grant money so it can go to theaters. So he's just like, okay. So I don't even know if the director's fully to blame for the feature. I mean, I don't blame him. If I was like, had a concept that I could stretch to a 25-minute movie and they're like, stretch it to an hour and a half and we'll give you $2 million in Willem Dafoe, I'd be like, alright.
Yeah, it feels stretched alright.
So, disappointing. So Aiden, would you recommend Inside?
No, certainly not in theaters. Jesus Christ. It's very dull. Nothing happens. I don't think it's a terrible concept, and I think it's decently produced, but it is just not interesting enough to be the length it is. And there's really no way around that. I mean, it's not a very enjoyable movie, despite being made decently well. Connor, would you recommend Inside?
No, there's a better version of this movie. It's called The Lighthouse. And you can watch that on VOD now.
Yeah, you can.
And probably buy it for pretty cheap. So that's what I would recommend.